We've got James McMurtry here and Betty Soo, and they're going to be performing, of course, at the Bijou tonight, right down the street. Welcome back to Knoxville. So glad to have both you and Betty Soo both, James.
Good to be back.
Well, we are happy to have you always. It is always a big time when you come to town and bringing Betty Soo with you, but you both have new records, which is just, man, I mean, there's always a reason to celebrate just getting out of bed every morning, but man, with new records, and making it through the gorge and I-40 between here and Asheville, that's a good reason to celebrate. So you've done both today, so that's
Actually,
good.
no, we went around the gorge. We went by
Hot Springs? Oh, yeah. Well, you
I
should
never
have
have been
there.
that way before. I never had any reason to go. So.
Oh, it's beautiful, beautiful. 2570 through there. I'm kind of from the Tennessee side of that area in Greenville, so spent a lot of time up there on the French Broad and love it. But we are just tickled to death to have you guys in the studio here at WDVX as well. A big shout out to our audio and video production team who's here capturing all this as well. Tell me what's been going on. We'll get you into a song here first, but I mean, you both basically been touring and been on the road for a little bit, right?
That's mostly what we do. Is pretty much all the revenue nowadays comes from the road. So the records are kind of to pump up the shows, really.
And you got one tonight, of course. You were in Asheville last night, which is always a good time. The Gray Eagle, a great venue over there that really went through a lot with Hurricane Helene, so it's really good to see those folks back up and going. Jeff's a good guy over there, and we work with them a lot. The Black Dog and the Wandering Boy is the new one from you. And then If You Never Go Away, is that the title track, Betty Soo, for you?
That's the title of my record.
Right, excellent. Well, again, congratulations to you both. We're going to talk about both new records a little bit, talk about what to expect from the show tonight, and maybe go down memory lane a little bit. But while we've got you in tune, why don't you do one and tell folks what you're picking on there? We'd love to let our musicians out there know what kind of instruments, because that both of them are beautiful.
I've got a National Res Electric, which you're going to think it's a banjo out there in Radio Land, but
well, it's East Tennessee. That'll be okay.
Betty Soo's got a real nice Taylor guitar. And we're going to do a song that I wrote, but I never did much with it, and Betty Soo put it on her record. We did it as a duet, actually. She let me play and sing on it, which is unusual. So much we saved, yet so much we missed. You know I never meant you to see me like this. Just a faint distant flicker from the last of the storm. Now a taste of that liquor could do me no harm. Light me a candle, light me a fire. Come sit by the window with the shade drawn. To the best of intentions and the worst of desires, leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn. pack it down hard. I'll no more be here, but I'll never be far. I'll no more be here, but I'll never be far. Light me a candle, light me a fire. Come sit by the window with the shade drawn. To the best of intentions and the worst of desires, leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn. Leave by the Gulf Road in the gray dawn.
East Tennessee's own WDVX. Wonderful, wonderful in-studio performance, James McMurtry and Betty Soo. And the name of that one was what again?
It was Gulf Road.
Gulf Road.
Yeah, it was on, I believe it was on a St. Mary of the Woods record of mine, and I hadn't touched it since, but Betty Soo dug it out of the vault.
And put it on her new record.
Yeah, actually, my son Curtis did a pretty good cover of it, too.
Oh, really cool. Really, really cool. Betty Soo, we're going to go ladies first here. How's that? I'm going to ask you a few things about your new record, and especially since that was the final track, I guess, on this new album. If You Never Go Away was released in July. Again, congratulations for that. A lot of hard work goes into it. A lot of good players on this freaking record, man. When I opened it up and started looking at the credits, it's probably not too hard to do in Texas to find a few good players, but you've surrounded yourself with some fine musicians, obviously.
Yeah, we made this record in Memphis, and actually,
All right.
I mean, Will Sexton's kind of a transplant. He comes from Austin, and
Yes.
I worked with me for a decade or more
Right.
when he lived there. And when he married Amy and moved to Memphis, he got established there pretty quick in the studio scene in Western Tennessee. So
Yeah, they got a few studios in Memphis.
yeah, a
Have
couple
through
of
the
famous
years.
ones, and so other than Will and then James and me, the rest of the players are all locals. They're all Memphis guys, and so Will brought them all in, and
Yeah.
I just really loved working with those guys.
Yeah, that's it is. I'm not going to sidetrack too much, but from Mountain City to Memphis in this state, music is just absolutely unbelievable and key, and it is part of the fabric of life around here, obviously,
Sure.
as this station is, but Memphis is just, man, I mean, it's just, I've only been there one time, and it was just absolutely so inspiring to me as a music lover, and I just barely scratched the surface down there. Much less from a civil rights point of view and whatnot, and a city that I just love, and especially for the music aspect of it. You're from Houston originally.
Yeah, grew
And-
up in Spring, Texas. Outside
Yeah,
Houston.
yeah. Educated at the other UT.
That's right. A little darker orange.
A little bit, but tell us. I read you grew up listening to the Great American Songbook and country radio, which is a lot different than country radio is today, no doubt about it. But
Yeah,
who
that's
on
true.
country radio just, took your ear and ran with it, and you said, I
there
want to
was
sound like that.
There was so much. I mean, when I was a kid, there were a couple of country stations that were really big, and one of them, I'm sure, most markets that have multiple. Well, now every market seems to have multiple country stations,
Yep.
but at the time, it seemed like state markets that I could even hold two country stations. One tended to be mostly top 40 hits, and the other one would be like a blend of hits and what they called country gold.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
And so it'd be every hour was kind of half contemporary stuff and half old stuff. And for people like, one of my sisters and I, there were four of us, but only two of us really liked country music. And for us, that was so key because unlike kids whose parents grew up in the States, we didn't have albums to leaf through. You
Yeah,
know, we didn't
yeah.
have a parent's record collection. Like we
Yeah.
had my dad's 2 Beethoven discs and my mom's 1 Mozart disc, you know, and a Vivaldi disc, and like that was it. So any of the music that was going to be in the house, if it wasn't from church or from our classical lessons, it was stuff we had to collect on our own, and so we had to learn all that stuff on our own. So listening to the stations that played the old stuff was a total education for us.
Absolutely, and you've obviously done it well, and it's obviously had an impact on you, and now you make a living doing this.
I know,
thing,
and
huh?
now I like things like James McMurtry. I don't
Oh
know.
man,
Get on that.
get in the car.
Well, you
and
know what?
travel
If you
with it.
listen to good old country music, you'll probably land there too.
No doubt, no doubt. I think you're right. I think you're on to something. Well, tell us a little bit more about this new record. You're playing tonight, of course, and again in
Yeah.
studio with Betty Soo and James McMurtry here. They're playing down the street at the lovely Bijou Theater. Just, I mean, what went into it? I know a lot of work, a lot of love, a lot of passion.
a lot of time, a lot of work, and about 11 years between record releases.
A
Because
lot of
I
strings.
just, yeah, a lot of strings in 11 years, but not as many as you'd think. Because I'm incredibly lazy about changing my guitar strings. Like maybe one of the worst. If somebody wanted to give me a string sponsorship, you would be out about 1 pack a year. So if anybody would like the cheapest artist on their roster, I'll be that person.
Get you some of those
No,
black diamond strings.
Will and I started working on a record probably a dozen years ago, and I never released it because
Right.
the release thing kind of depresses me. But he was, when I was ready to go back at it, he was like, let's do it. He was really excited.
Cool. Now, tonight you'll be performing, obviously, opening up, and you'll be performing as part of James' band as well. But will you be with the band? Are you going to be doing solo tonight, or what can folks expect? And that's a beautiful Gibson, by the way.
Thank you. A little bit of everything.
Cool.
I'll do most of my set solo, and then a couple of guys might join me and surprise people. We never know.
All right. Cool. Well, that ought to be fun.
But James's band will always be amazing. You know?
No doubt about it. No doubt about
In
it.
some sense or another.
And knoxbijou.org is where you can go find that amazement and get you a ticket to ride tonight at the Bijou. So what are we going to do? How about another one? Can we get another one from y'all?
What are you set up for? Yeah, for. What are
Can
you
we do
tuned for?
court?
Are you tuned for Coeur Okay.
Can we
Yeah,
do
this
something
is
else?
a song about a bunch of knuckleheads trying to get something to go on in Los Angeles, in the film business.
I've heard they do that out there.
Well, yeah, they do that, but it's really kind of about how we treat artists as people. We revere them, but we don't want our kids to be artists.
Which is
So
a sad truth.
That's kind of what this is here. Carlton locked the keys in the Camaro, like to tore the handle off the door. Mikey come to visit in the morning, says we're not in trouble anymore. Says we're not in trouble anymore. Whining up the Pasadena freeway, they're whining about the price of gasoline. Trying to get someone to read my screenplay. Ain't a going back to Coeur d'Alene. Ain't a going back to Coeur d'Alene. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Hanging at the cabin in Topanga, trying to stick a hatchet in a tree. Mikey said he liked to lost a finger. Don't know what it had to do with me. Don't know what it had to do with me. Carlton said we're all a bunch of smoozers, trying to find me a director and a crew. Science documentary producer, probably about the best we're gonna do. Probably about the best we're gonna do. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Why do I feel like a criminal for taking a good long shot? If my chances are minimal, I'm still giving it all I got. Why do I feel like a criminal? Why do I feel like a criminal? Why do I feel like a criminal? Mama get to drink and call me worthless. She lost a couple uncles in the war. When I said I'm never going into service, Mama never talked to me no more. Mama never talked to me no more. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known, gotta get known. Carlton locked the keys in the Camaro, like to tore the handle off the door. Mikey come to visit in the morning, says we're not in trouble anymore. Says we're not in trouble anymore.
East Tennessee's on WDVX. Great stuff live in studio for you. I mean live. We're here live, they're here live, and you're out there listening live. This is James McMurtry and Betty Soo, as they're going to be performing tonight down at the historic Bijou Theater. KnoxBijou.org is where you can go get some tickets. There are just a few left, so you might want to go ahead and grab those. It's going to be a great, great night of music, as both will be celebrating new records as well. James, I'm going to talk just a little bit about the Black Dog and the Wandering Boy. Congratulations. Absolutely fantastic record.
Thank you.
I don't know, we're probably 4, 5, 6 cuts deep into it here at WDVX.
Yeah, be careful in previewing. There might be some FCC stuff.
Oh, we do that. Don't worry. We make sure of that as well. You know, with all the budget cuts lately, the last thing we need is an FCC fine. There's no doubt about it. But the title cut in particular, man, it just, I mean, it literally comes to life in front of me when I hear it and listen to it, and then I literally see it as I'm listening to it. A lot of your songs do, but not many of them mention Weird Al, or at least a song from Weird Al. So is this something deep down with you, or is this a...
Well, that Black Dog, actually, after my father passed away, he'd had dementia for a while. And my stepmom asked if he'd ever talked to me about his hallucinations. I said no, and she said he never mentioned the Black Dog and the Wandering Boy. I said no, but I'm going to use that.
Yeah, so and you did it quite well.
Yeah, I just applied it to a fictional character.
Yeah, you got a lot of fictional characters, and I mean they are characters.
I'm mostly fiction myself.
I'm just interested in your songwriting process as far as choosing songs for an album. Do you have like a drawer at the house where you've got all these unrecorded songs in, and you kind of go, there's one that might work on this new record? Or do you go to each new record and go, I want to write new songs for the entire thing, or a mix of both? Because I know you put a lot of effort into this new record.
Well, I work from a scrap pile, and, I make records when the tour draw starts to fall off.
Right.
And then I'll book some time, and the songs on my records are just whatever songs I happen to get finished in time for the session.
Yeah. Okay. And you said you've put a lot of effort into this record, like you said, because you wanted to go back and tour. You wanted people to be writing about it again. You wanted stations to be playing it, and looks like that's happening.
That's kind of how we do it. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. And you got hooked back up with Don Dixon, who legendary produced one of my favorite bands of all time, Guadalcanal Diary. I did college radio for years, running a station here in town, and I'm going to tell you, the hardest thing I've ever had to do is teach the college kids how to pronounce Guadalcanal. Of course, my dad was in World War II in the Navy. He was in the Battle of Guadalcanal. I knew that word when I was 4 years old. But Don Dixon, getting back to that, man, I mean, what a chemistry you two have. That guy's produced classic stuff from REM and Let's Active and the Smithereens. But how did you guys get hooked up? And man, wow, that just
we
turned out
met
great.
in '92. We were on a tour that was set up by the Bottom Line in New York, the now defunct club, and it was called In Their Own Words. And they got a bunch of songwriters and put us on a bus and sent us around the country. And we'd get up on stage, like 5 of us, usually with a local DJ.
Huh.
who would ask us about songwriting, and we'd blather on a bit, and then we'd play a song, and it'd go around the line like that. And I had to follow Dixon every night, which was not a good space. I was between Dixon and Marshall Crenshaw.
Wow.
So I was
High cotton.
That wasn't the catbird seat, I wouldn't say, but I got to know Don a little bit, and so I called him in for my third record he produced for Columbia. After which I was subsequently dropped, but I soldiered on. I went through several, kind of minor label deals and independent labels, and a bunch of. It got to where I had to produce myself because nobody else wanted to.
Yeah. Yep.
And after a while, I used up all the tricks that I learned from Mellencamp and Dixon and Wanchik and Lloyd Maines, and so I needed to bring in some outside people to kind of go back to producer school. So I brought in C.C. Adcock for the Complicated Game record, and then I got Ross Hogarth to do the Horses and the Hounds, and Ross had engineered my first couple of records, so it was kind of like going back to college with the same professors.
Yeah.
And so then I had to revisit Mr. Dixon's homeroom. And but
with lessons previously learned.
My
right?
production style is kind of based on him and Lloyd Maines, and it's live in the studio. You take you get the take that has the most life and overdub on that, and that's where Dixon really shines because he can tell when the good take is happening.
Oh yeah.
So you don't have to go back in the control room and listen to your 3 previous takes and see which one's better because he just knows. He'll say, stay right there, punch that section there, punch the ending, and you got it. Then we can start building on. That saves you 15 minutes.
No doubt. Of studio time.
Listening to the 3 takes is about 15, 20 minutes, and there's not. You don't have that many minutes in a day, and you're paying for all of them. So.
Absolutely. Well, it worked out great. One quick thing again before get you guys to do another one. And of course, James McMurtry and Betty Soo here in studio at East Tennessee's on WDVX, and this is the Local 3 at 3. And support for the Local 3 at 3 comes from Three Rivers Market, Knoxville's customer-owned food co-op, supporting the local community by working with farmers to bring fresh produce, grains, coffees, and more to the community. Three Rivers Market supports local music on WDVX every weekday with the Local 3 at 3 featuring music from our region. Again, this is music from our region, at least tonight, because they're going to be playing down at the Bijou Theater. You, I think, are an underrated guitarist. At least that's and I mean, this new record, the guitar work in it, and again, I think that leans a little on Don too, man, because it sounds like Guadalcanal Diamond, some of these other bands. I mean, the guitar is out front. It sounds great.
I didn't do a lot of lead work on this one. It was mostly Tim Holt and Cornbread played the solo on the title track. It's scary when your bass player is the best guitar player in the band. But.
Keep him at bass. You got it covered, man. I think
he played that solo. Yeah.
Cool. It's a great solo. What about you? I mean, who were some of the early on? Obviously, your mom, I think, is the one who pretty much got you hooked up on guitar.
She taught me chords.
Yeah. And then growing up, who was you would hear on the radio or whatever and go, man, Scotty Moore or whoever. You go, man, that's...
Well, see, back then they didn't credit guitarists. They didn't credit sidemen on the...
So you really didn't
back when you bought your LPs at the drugstore.
Yeah.
There weren't any credits. And it was mostly the same guys. It was mostly the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
And whoever was in Nashville at that time.
Yeah. A lot of good ones. Again, James McMurtry and Betty Soo live in studio here at WDVX 89.9 FM, as well as 102.9 in Knoxville, 93.9 in Seymour and Seven Islands. Can we get one more for you? Because I know you got to get back to the donuts.
Well, this one, we've never done this one live, but it happens to be September 11th. And... American songwriters all have to have their We'll Never Forget September 11th song. And I turned in my term paper about 25 years late. But one of the things I'll never forget about that day was we heard from Yasser Arafat before we heard from our own president. So, wasn't much happening in the news that day. Not much and nothing on TV. Not big on Yankee baseball, I'm afraid to say. Enron didn't hardly interest me. I changed the channel, went on up to bed. left the phone in silent mode. Woke up next afternoon, the voicemail said, "Son, where the hell you been? There's 3,000 dead. And Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Does anybody know what's going on? Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Trade center's gone. Trade center's gone." I never thought much of the younger Bush. He never seemed to have a clue. He sat there smiling with that children's book while they decided what to do. No one could find him till that big blue plane sat down and off at AFB. We've all seen worse now, but his name's still mud for going down that rabbit hole while Arafat gave blood. And Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Does anybody know what's going on? Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Trade center's gone. Trade center's gone. Now they tell us how he found his feet, standing in the rubble of the towers. But who of us can name the one that wrote that speech, loaned him the words to seize the hour? He laid the blame on Saddam Hussein. You'd have thought we might have learned. And he sat with Prince Bandar, each enjoyed a fine cigar on the White House Truman balcony while the Pentagon still burned. And Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? I guess we're going to war. I guess we're going to war. Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Does anybody know what's going on? Annie, what you doing in Nebraska? Trade center's gone. Trade center's gone. The trade center's gone.
East Tennessee's own WDVX. James McMurtry, Betty Soo, live in studio here on this Thursday afternoon on September 11th. As we all remember, we'll never forget. Thank goodness we have songwriters like you that help us to not forget that and every aspect of that. As we look, of course, these guys are going to be playing tonight. James with his band and Betty Soo in a few different configurations, she said. There'll be maybe some surprises, maybe some donuts. We'll see. But that's going to be happening tonight at the Bijou, Historic Bijou Theater downtown on Gay Street. Again, knoxbijou.org for the tickets. It will be an absolutely great show. Both bands supporting new records, The Black Dog and The Wandering Boy for James McMurtry. And If You Never Go Away from Betty Soo. James, have you, is there any thought, and I hope knows the answer, I mean, you've been doing this a long time, but you're not slowing down. At least it doesn't seem like it. But it does get harder. It doesn't get much easier. I mean, it's, like you said, you got to sell tickets. And then when you sell tickets, you got to sell merch because there's not really record sales anymore. But, I mean, does that inspire you? Does that make you take a step back and go, how much longer I want to do this?
Well, I'm just just now getting good at it. So
Debatable.
I don't want to quit now.
Good. Well, we don't want you to. It makes our job easier when you put records out like you just did.
Thank you.
It makes our job so much easier, and it's just we're very proud to have both of you here in studio with us, and congratulations again on what I know is a great record from you, and I cannot wait to listen to Betty Soo's whole project now that they've given us new CDs and donuts here today, and anything else you want to tell folks? Maybe one last plea to say, come on down and check us out tonight if need be, because there's not a whole lot of tickets left.
Yeah, come down, check us out if you're into it. I guess the other thing is it's getting serious out there. Don't expect the midterms to save us, because I'm not expecting there to be midterms.
It's getting very
Take
serious.
that how you want to.
Yeah.
Try to be nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
And of course, you know.
And refrain from the violence, because that just breeds more violence.
It's very tempting to not be nice, but you can be nice.
Lean
That's
on the
it.
music. Lean on the music, no doubt about it. And you guys make great music, and we thank you all for coming in and spending time with us today. Have a good time at the show tonight. I know there's a lot of folks looking forward to it. If the bright lights get to you too much, those WDVX sunglasses will do the job for you. So if you see two people walking downtown with WDVX sunglasses on, folks, and carrying some donuts, then you know who they are. James McMurtry, Betty Soo, thanks again for your time.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
Thanks for
us.
all you do for us and for everybody
Thank you
out
for
there. in the
spinning
music.
all that great music. You played Kevin Welch a while ago. I hadn't heard him in a long time. His son Dustin is a neighbor of mine.
Wow.
Down in Lockhart, Texas, and he's still at it.
I love Kevin, man. I
Yeah.
mean, just great songwriter too.
Kevin's in Australia, I think.
And
Wow.
I loved out there in their music stacks, they've got your record right next to Eliza Gilkison's Paradise Hotel, which is one of my favorite records
There
of
we
all
go,
time.
yeah.
All
Yeah.
right. There you go. No doubt about it. Well, thank you both. We really, really, really appreciate you all being here. And I think, Betty Soo, we're going to try to see if we can get this What Do You Want From Me Now song on. Is that okay?
That's great.
Give you guys a little taste of what to expect tonight. Again, James McMurtry, Betty Soo, thank you so much. Proud to have y'all in today. And keep on keeping on.
Thank you.
Thank you.